Okay, in this video we're going to discuss how to replace Raritan part number PHII pump. The pump used in this toilet is a universal pump that has really been in production since about 1960. Some of the bases have changed over the years, but the pump design has remained constant. So with this standard footprint, it will really fit on any of your Raritan PHII manual toilets. Now, before we begin, we have to make sure we take all of our safety precautions here. We want to make sure we're aware of our plumbing system. Before we start, any Seacocks should be closed, both for the intake side and the discharge side. And then we also want to make sure we have our proper safety equipment. So gloves, I mean, you got to remember we are dealing with effluent and biological waste, so we want to make sure that we're properly protected from that, as well as a pair of safety glasses. Some of the tools that we're going to need to do this are just a couple of 9/16 crescent wrenches, a long screwdriver, flathead blade, and just a pair of channel locks will do. So with that, let's get into it. Okay, once we have properly closed our Seacocks on both our intake and our discharge side, we can then remove these two hoses. Now, again, keep in mind, depending on how your plumbing is configured, there is likely going to be seawater in this line and wastewater in this line. So you're going to want to have a pan underneath ready to capture some of that fluid. And again, gloves are very important at this stage. So once these clamps are removed, these hoses can be taken off. The next step is going to be removing the clamp in this tube. Again, there could be some liquid in that tube. I want to remove. Okay. Next step is using your long blade screwdriver. We're going to remove the 4 bolts that hold the pump down to the base. Once the bolts are loosened, the pump can be removed. You can remove the old gasket and discard. Next, you're going to want to clean the surface area, remove any calcium deposits, old sludge, things of that nature. Before placing the flapper onto the base, you want to take note if the base has molded washers into it already. The PHII pump is going to come with 4 of these washers. If the washers are already molded in place, these do not need to be used. If it is completely flat, then the washer gets put into the flapper and then placed onto the base. In this case, the molded spacers are already there, so we do not need them. When we place the flapper in place, we want to make sure that it hinges towards the bowl. We don't want to do this. We want it to be towards the bowl. When the pump comes out of the box, this discharge elbow is not connected. What we want to do is we want the slit to face up and down at all times. So if we rotate the elbow, for example, 90 degrees this way, I'm going to rotate the elbow and then fasten. Tighten the pump. The pump can now be fitted to the unit. Okay, once the pump is fitted back onto the base itself, you can then reconnect your hoses, tighten down your clamps, open up your Seacocks, put your handle back into your unit, and do a leak check. From there, we should be good to go. And that concludes our video on how to replace the PHII pump. If you have any further technical questions on this process, feel free to give us a call in our Millville or Florida office.